So welcome to R&R, our rest and reset. We're gonna have 45 minutes of delicious restorative practice with some integrated meditation as well. Today, you'll really just need, we actually have a few props today. So I am gonna use a chair. If you have any seating in your general vicinity, for those of you that are in our deep stretch, we're not doing anything remotely like that this time. So if you have a seat or just something that you can, any kind of seating in your space is fine. If you do have a folding chair or a dining room chair or something that's easy to kind of move around on your mat, that's probably ideal. I'm going to use a folding chair today. And then I'll use a couple of blankets and a bolster as well. So you can use a pillow in place of the bolster if you like. Having a couple of blankets and just some supportive props will be helpful. I'm going to drop a playlist in the chat if you feel so inclined to enjoy some background music. You are welcome to do so. And with that, we're going to begin. So we don't need the chair right away as I just ram it into my foot. It's a good way to start a restorative class. I am going to grab a bolster. In this case, I'm going to use a pillow and a couple of blankets as well. And if you are using a shorter pillow and instead of an actual bolster, there's a couple of tricks that I'm going to recommend. So first things first, we're gonna add a folded blanket in the middle of our mat in this kind of rectangular fashion, just to give a little extra support to the hips. And then I'm gonna use a folded blanket on top of the pillow, since I don't have an actual bolster, to just give a little extra structure. Now the tip, if you are using a shorter pillow, maybe you have a longer one, like a sleeping pill, and you don't need to do this, but I'm going to add a block underneath just for my head. I'm going to add that folded blanket just on top there. So there's different ways that you can kind of bend that practice just to let the rest of you be more supported. If you are using a bolster, you might just want to add that folded blanket at the top just to support the head and neck a little bit. So we're going to come to seated facing the front of our mat. Remove the flesh out from underneath the sits bones. Plant the soles of the feet on the mat. And bring your hands just behind your hips and begin to lower yourself down onto the bolster or your props. Taking the opportunity to adjust placement. There's a couple things you can check. One, are you feeling too much in your low back? In which case you actually want to give yourself just a little more space between your low back and the bolster or the prop. The other thing is, do we need to adjust the placement of anything for the head and the neck? So take a moment here to adjust in, check in with the shoulder blades, slide them down the back, really opening through the heart and the chest. Once you've got your torso and your head supported in the right place, you can bring your arms by your side, palms facing up. And yogi's choice here, if you want to keep the soles of your feet rooted on your mat right where they are, or if you want to extend the legs long, take a big deep breath in and a big sigh out the mouth as you begin to settle in here. Begin to connect with the wave of your breath. Feeling the depth of your inhale. Inviting the breath deep down into the body, into the belly. And as you exhale, simply allowing yourself to settle here. Let gravity enfold you like a blanket. Letting go of any tendency to hold within your tissues. Let yourself be held here. As we dive in, just simply let your awareness and focus rest on the pathways and the sensation of your breath. Letting the breath be full and deep on the inhalation. Letting the breath be long on the exhalation. This R&R is a beautiful opportunity for you to simply come back, to recenter, to meet yourself once again, right where you are. And so I invite you to breathe in through the crown of your head, breathing deep down into the central column of the body, letting the breath flow in and through around the spinal column, deep into the pelvis, into the pelvic bowl. As you exhale, let all that breath and energy travel back up the central column into the heart. Breathing once again in through the crown of the head, deep down through around the central column into the heart, filling up there. And as you exhale, allowing all that breath and energy to flow up into the space behind the third eye. Breathing in through the crown of the head, filling up the space of the mind, of the cavity of the skull. And as you exhale, let everything go through the crown of the head. As you breathe in, invite the breath in through the crown of the head, deep down around the column of the spine, around the core of your body, filling up into the low belly, the diaphragm, the hips. And as you exhale, moving all of that breath and energy up through the spine into the space of the heart. Breathing in through the crown of the head, letting the breath flow freely and fully within, filling up the heart space, mixing and intermingling. And as you exhale, allow all that breath and energy to travel back up the central column into the space behind the third eye, meeting you right in the mind. Inhaling through the central column, filling the space behind the third eye, the cavity of the mind. And as you exhale, let everything go through the crown of the head. Inhaling through the crown of the head, following the breath down the central channel into the hips, rooting there. As you exhale, allowing everything to release up the central column into the heart. Inhaling through the crown of the head, following the breath and your awareness into the space of your heart, filling up, softening and opening as you expand. As you exhale, allowing all that breath and energy to travel back up the central column into the cavity of the mind. Breathing in through the crown of the head one final time. Filling up in the skull and the density of the brain. And as you exhale, let everything go through the crown of the head. The head, the heart, and the hips are the three places where we often hold the most tension. The places where we fragment within ourselves. So you can use the power and the presence and the tool of the breath to reintegrate, to notice, to remember. You can feel free to stay with that practice or release it as we continue through the rest of our practice today. Take 3 more deep, full breaths here, right where you are. As you complete your final breath, fluttering the eyes open, wiggling through the fingers and toes. Bring the soles of your feet back to the mat as you bend through the knees if they're not already there. And gently begin to prop yourself up on your elbows, eventually coming to the hands, lifting the torso up off of your props. And we are going to gently bring the chair in front of us. I'm going to face all of you. So we're going to bring the chair so that the seat of the chair is facing you. We're going to take one of our blankets here and add it to the seat of your chair. And what we're going to do first are some single leg stretches. So I'm going to extend the right leg straight in front of me, bring the sole of the left foot to the inner thigh. So it's kind of hard to see. So we've got the sole of the left foot inside the right thigh, right leg extends long in front of you, and I just have it tucked under the chair so that the seat is in front of me. So we're going to use this as our prop. If this is not comfortable or handy for you and you do have a bolster, you can also place the bolster so that it comes up long ways towards you. And we're just going to do a gentle forward fold here. So inhale, growing tall through the spine. As you exhale, gently folding forward, bring your forehead to the seat, or you can also bring your arms to cross and then bring your forehead onto your arms as well. So a couple of options. As you find your way in, take a big deep breath in. And a big sigh as you settle deeper. Take the opportunity here to notice if you have a tendency to hold in any of the tissues, sometimes within the hamstring or the low back. And really invite the presence of your breath and your attention into those spaces. The goal here is to just gently soften without forcing, to soften in the space of support. Once again, as we continue through this practice, you can keep that flow of 3 breaths into the hips, the heart, and the mind. Or you can release it and just simply be with the sensations and the pathways of your breath, your body, and your being. 2 more rounds of breath here. Gently lifting the torso back up to seated. If you have a chair in front of you, you can gently slide it forward and then bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees go wide on either side. And just flex through the toes, maybe bring the thumbs to the arches and give them a little massage. Just gently releasing from the intensity of that posture. And then extending the left leg long, letting the right sole of the foot stay inside the left leg. You can bring that chair closer once again, or adjust yourself as needed. Inhale, growing tall through the spine. Exhale, folding forward, coming to the hands or to your props. Once again, I invite you to take a big, deep breath in and a big sigh out the mouth. Letting go of anything that no longer serves. Throughout this practice and with each posture, we've had the opportunity to align with our bodies and our beings with intention and purpose. This week at the studio, we've been talking about viveka, which is the discernment of priorities. It's both a practice and an aim. And there's this element of refining, but it happens in these very simple, present moment ways, where we come with choice, with conscious intention, and with a heartfelt purpose to what we're doing. As much as it may be an action or a reflection, it is also a practice and a remembering. So I invite you, as you are here with your body and your breath, to remember, why are you here doing this right now? Taking one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently rising through the torso, shifting the seat a little forward, perhaps bringing the soles of the feet together, and just sitting up really tall through the spine, maybe twisting slightly to the right and the left. And then extending your legs long to either side, coming into a wide-legged stance. You can shift that chair back a little closer. Inhale, growing tall through the spine, and then as you exhale, gently folding forward, coming again to the crossed arms or directly onto the seat of your chair and your props. Really allowing your attention and awareness to flow to the locus of sensation within you. Maybe that's the inner groin, the tailbone, the sacrum, or the low back. Maybe as you breathe in, you really feel that low belly press into the tops of the thighs. Maybe you feel your third eye resting. Remembering there's no right or wrong, just notice how you notice. Softening through the jaw. Feeling through 5 more rounds of breath here. And with your final exhale, gently lifting through the torso, coming back to seated, gently shoving the chair a little further away and bringing your hands to tuck around the outer edges of the knees and just inviting them to fold as the soles of the feet come together once again. Be twisting slightly from side to side. And then we're going to come to face the front of our mats. And you may already be in that position. That's fine. I'm just going to shift. And I invite you to bring your chair in front as well. So we're going to use that for a moment. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to come into a bridge pose. And so we have a couple options for getting into it. So first things first, we want to remove any props from behind. And depending on your bolster or pillow situation, you may want to start on the prop, or you may want to add it with a gentle bridge after you lay down on your back. So a couple of options here. If you want to begin, what you're going to do is just come up off of your seat and place your bolster or your pillow directly over where your hips are going to lie. And then we're going to bring our tush right onto the prop and gently lean back so that we can bring our legs up onto the chair. Now, this is a great opportunity where you can check and see where everything is and where it needs to be. So I'm noticing this chair is a little further forward because what I want to do is bring my hips to 90 degrees and my knees to 90 degrees. And my chair needs to be just a little bit closer. There we go. And then once I've got my props in the right place, I can gently lower down onto my back. The other option is to just come into a gentle bridge pose by posturing the feet onto the seat, lifting up the hips and sliding your bolster or your prop underneath. No wrong or right way, there's just two options. So when you've got yourself in this position, letting your legs be fully supported by the seat of the chair, letting your hips be fully supported by your bolster or pillow. Once again, sliding the shoulder blades down the back to really open through the chest and the collarbones. Take a big, deep breath in and a big sigh out the mouth as you settle in here. With this inversion, we allow ourselves to really come to a unique perspective with our circulatory system, with our nervous system. Very figuratively and literally a new perspective. And so once again, you can continue with that 3-breath flow, connecting head to heart to hips. Really are 3 spaces of knowing. Activating these areas of discernment, very connected to our theme this week. But also integrating that wisdom of the heart, that intuition and deeper, wider center of being within our gut, and for women within the womb. Letting all the parts of us be connected, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat. Just noticing the breath flow in and the breath flow out. Feeling through 3 more deep, full rounds of breath here. Beautiful. And as you exhale, begin to hug the knees into the chest. Really letting gravity do the work here. And maybe rocking a little from side to side. No need to move too much here. And then resting the arches of the feet onto the seat of your chair. You're going to gently lift the hips towards the sky and remove your bolster or your pillow, bringing your hips back down to the earth. And then keeping the right sole of the foot on the chair, you're going to bring the left ankle on top of the right knee. And then allow the legs to fall over to the right. So we're coming into a modified supine twist here. Keeping the shoulders broad and open, connecting to the mat, letting the arms go wide to either side. Letting your gaze go towards the sky or towards the left. Really focus here once again on the fullness of your breath, inviting the breath deep down into the belly, into the hips, into the pelvic bowl. Breathing from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Letting the exhalation be long and smooth. Softening through the jaw. Perhaps softening through the torso. Taking one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, bringing the legs back up into the chest, bringing the hips back to center, rocking a little from side to side, and then planting the toe bed onto the seat, bringing the right ankle on top of the left knee, and then allowing the legs to fall over to the left. Taking a big full breath in and letting the breath release at depth. Taking one more deep, full breath in. As you exhale, bringing the legs back up into the chest. So we have a yogi's choice here. If you'd like to come into a so-as release for your final resting posture, you can just bring your calves and your lower legs back onto your chair and let yourself rest in this supported position. And if you'd like to come into a more traditional shavasana, you can just gently press the chair away with your feet if you like. You can add a bolster under your knees. Maybe add a blanket on top if you're at all chilly. Let yourself find some comfort as we begin to open into this final posture together. Really sliding those shoulder blades down the back, letting the heart open forward. Letting yourself release from any conscious efforting of the breath. And for the next few minutes, just give yourself the space to be right where you are, just as you are. Letting yourself resonate and remember your priorities, your intention and purpose for being right here, right now. Heartbeat by heartbeat, breath by breath. Let yourself be. Taking one more big, full breath in, and one more big, full breath out. Beginning to wiggle through the fingers and toes. Inviting the knees to come into the chest. Gently rocking from side to side, really feeling that sacrum rooted to the earth. Eventually allowing yourself to fall over to a side of your choice. Pausing there. Breathing. In this posture of rebirth, we are reminded that we begin again in every breath. With choice, with sovereignty, with wholeness. With your next exhale, bringing yourself back up to seated in whatever way serves you. Bringing your palms to connect in front of the heart. Left palm in union with right palm. Slight tuck of the chin as you bow towards your heart. Letting yourself connect to your priorities. Using that power of discernment, choice, of sovereignty, right here within you. Knowing that it's all right here and now. Namaste in its simplest form means the light in me honors and acknowledges the light in you. Bring thumbs to third eye center between the eyebrows and the forehead, bowing forward to seal your practice. Namaste.